everyone. Thank you so much for joining our ADvendio Spring webinar. We're mostly going to be focused on all of the new features and enhancements from the recent spring release. So if you have any questions, please send them our way and we'll answer those at the end. So we want to take it away, Jennifer?
Yeah, so as Sam said, we're kind of focusing on new features and enhancements. So for anyone who's familiar with the ADvendio product, so of course most people here are customers, but if anyone here is not a customer, but maybe a potential customer, some things might be a bit abstract, but of course this is usually attended by kind of regular customers. So our focus today will be on, as you can see here, we've got quite an array of topics to show. So we're going to start with the media search exclusivity check. We're then going to move on and show the check cross-media availability in the media configuration. I'm going to show you our new Lightning experience in both the booking calendar and the Invoice Wizard. And then very, very briefly, we're going to mention our programmatic advertising and self-advertising, because we have currently a series of webinars going on about those topics, just to kind of give you a little insight as to what will be in those webinars in case anyone here is interested, just to give them a little taster. So maybe we can start straight away with our media search exclusivity check. Let me just take a quick jump over here to our demo org. So within ADvendio, as you know, you can, well now, you can check the availability of your exclusive non-digital products directly in the media search. So the media search, which I'll show you now, is obviously where you go in to search through your inventory and add new items to your campaign. And what this means is that users will then be able to instantly know directly from the search if the item that they're selecting, firstly, if it's available, which of course is very important, and secondly, they'll know how much is available. And this is really good because it prevents them from selecting and maybe even going ahead and configuring items which will not be available in the end. So of course, this saves them a lot of time, and in the end, time is money, saves both. So as you can see here, we're in the media search. For those of you who are maybe not familiar with this is our, as we often refer to it, our new media search, or what we're hoping will just be media search. This actually also left beta status in Spring 20. So this media search, as you can see, is in Lightning design. So the view you're seeing might differ a bit if you are a classic media search user. But as you can see here, you have a lot of exciting features. It looks a bit different, and the features that we're going to show, or the feature I'm going to show now, is of course only available in the Lightning design. So maybe for anyone who's using Classic, switch on over and you can use this feature. For users, it works the same, of course, the actual media search. You can just filter as you normally would. So I'm going to add in some little filter criteria here just to show you what we're looking for. So users just enter whatever it is they're looking for. Of course, you can set up your filter criteria here to whatever suits your business needs. And in a normal media search, you just press filter. I get my result here and I see, okay, there's an item. We have this column here called availability. And what we can do now is if I put in directly here in the media search the duration that I'm looking for. So maybe we'll see if this one is available in May. I press filter. You can see up here that the exclusivity check for all matching items has been carried out, and we can see here directly in the results that there are no units available for this inventory that matches my search criteria. So instead of having gone into the media config and configured a whole media campaign around this, only to find out later that it's not available, I know directly that's not available. So I can either alter my criteria, or I can say, okay, for me, this could also work to run in June. So we're going to click in June here. We're going to filter again, runs and checks, updates that field, and the users can see straight away here in the media search that this is available and how many units are available. So I can know straight away if this meets my budget for this campaign, if it meets the amount of requested units that I'm going to have for this campaign. Yeah, I can select this and continue and configure my campaign, confident that it is available directly here.
So just to confirm, Jennifer, so this helps kind of speed up the process for your products that aren't linked up to an ad server, is that correct?
Exactly. So you can do this directly here, and it saves kind of, especially for things you have where it's relevant that you keep track and limit how many things you're selling. So for example, print media, of course, where you only have a certain number of pages, all of these things can be tracked here. And it's a lot easier, a lot quicker.
And it's a nice view. You don't need to scroll as much. I like it.
Exactly. And here you have the, of course, here we only have one result, but this search table that you have as well, you can sort by all of these different columns, by ascending, descending, alphabetical, whatever floats your boat on the day, you're able to do with this data table. So yeah, that's the one that we have here for the media search. And this will be really, I think, a groundbreaking change for our non-digital inventory users. The next step kind of goes on from this and brings us into our media config. So instead of going back out and back in, of course, I'm just going to continue to use the same thing. So I'm just going to reset my search here. And I'm going to look for an item. So we're going to use our quick search because I know exactly which item I want to use. And we've added that directly to our media basket, and I can go in and straight away into my media config. So what I'm going to show you now is that this is the check availability for exclusive products. So what this does is you can immediately check the availability of your products after selecting them directly in the media config. So this one is for users who are familiar with this feature. The solution was previously only available for digital products. So this enhancement will greatly benefit our out-of-home print and cross-channel customers. The availability check of exclusive products gives users the flexibility to instantly adjust their campaigns as needed without having to go maybe through the booking calendar, which they could have originally done, or it also gives them the greater degree of flexibility in the media config because you can configure a lot more directly. So what I'm going to do now is here I have an item, of course, prepared my item earlier. I'm going to select maybe some exclusive contents that I know I have available here. Let's see, I'm going to add in both, why not? And we're going to also see again if this is available for the month of May, which we're currently in. We add in our things, quick quantity of 1 month, and I'll check the availability. And what this is doing now is it's checking if there are any other items that contradict with this particular booking that I would like to make. And what we can see now straight away here in the check availability, directly on the screen the user will see, is that this is not available. I can, of course, open this. I can see more information. So I've requested 1. There are actually 0 quantity available. This would, of course, be very useful to see if maybe you requested 3 and there were only 2, and you're like, okay, cool, 2 works, I can take 2. So you can directly adjust your quantity, but of course in this situation there's nothing available for this month. So I can go in and I can maybe again shift to June, do the next month of June that I have, press the check availability again, it's checking, and yep, you can see that it is available directly and it has all of the information, requested 1, total availability 1. That's there. So the user can go ahead, can book something for this knowing that it is available directly. And of course, this is just one example with one single item, but of course you can do this with multiple items as well, all at the same time as well. Once you press the check availability, it will check availability for all items in the campaign that it is possible to check availability for.
Okay, and a quick question for you, Jennifer. So I imagine that each customer has their inventory set up a little bit differently, but the key difference for what you just showed is that we're checking availability for any kind of, I don't know if this is the correct word, but targeting essentially. So you targeted the Hamburg airport, I believe. So is that right? You're just checking to make sure that Hamburg inventory is available?
Exactly, yeah. So in this, we kind of use the contents for kind of physical locations. So exactly that physical location is available at that time that we've checked.
Okay.
And that check availability button would also work to check the ad server availabilities of your digital items, which might be in the same campaign if you were having cross-channel customers or cross-channel media campaigns where you had all of them together.
Okay, so let's say, again, I feel like it's probably all preference, but if you have customers that prefer to just work directly out of the media search and media configuration rather than the booking calendar, they could go ahead and do that?
Exactly, yeah, it's now available because a lot of customers would have used the booking calendar to do this previously to kind of check the availability and prevent maybe double booking or to see contending items through the booking calendar. You can now do this checking availability directly in the media config. And like you said, it's all to do with preference. Some users might prefer the media config view, some might still prefer the booking calendar view, but now they have the option to go with whichever suits their preference and their needs.
Awesome.
Good. That is actually a very good point and a good kind of transition. I'm just going to save this. Why not? We have it created. To our next point on the agenda, which is the booking calendar. So as Sam already kind of pointed out, the booking calendar is a really powerful tool within Advendio, which allows or enables users who are selling ad specs exclusively. So let me just have a quick jump over to our booking calendar. So what the booking calendar does, for those who are not familiar with it, is it provides a comprehensive overview of what is available and what isn't, and it's very instrumental, as you said, in preventing double booking. What we're going to do here is have a quick look. So you can, of course, configure different types of, we won't go into this in detail now, there is much more information on the kind of configuration of the booking calendar and setup in our wiki, and of course our terms and support are available. But you can configure different ones. I'm going to use today my airport banner our booking calendar that I have created. So what our latest improvements in the Spring 20 release is that we have brought the booking calendar into Lightning design. So for any user who is used to using the booking calendar, you can very clearly see straight away that this is a new bright Lightning design for the booking calendar. This is really great because it provides a really consistent design across the Advendio products while maintaining the features and the functions of the booking calendar that were already known and used by customers. Maybe just to kind of have a quick show for customers who are not used to it or who want to have a quick look at the booking calendar while we're here. So you can have in your chart type, you can enter whatever dates, you can of course do custom, whatever filters the customers want, all of this can be configured. If you just press show, I have a quick load, quick check what's there. And here we go. So then you can see results for the things that I have already filtered. For example, I filtered by site banner, airport banner here. And you can see directly here the availabilities, and it shows you things which are completely booked out, where there's partial availability, complete availability. You can also then click on the icons and you get a nice little modal which opens up and shows you any campaign item which is already booked, which is maybe indirectly, as it says here, indirectly blocking your item, or it can also be completely blocking your item. You get all of that information in one view. And you can of course click, select things that you want, and create media campaigns directly from the booking calendar. So in terms of features and functionalities, everything stays the same for the booking calendar. Nothing has been removed, nothing has also been added. It's just more that it has been brought into, shall we say, the new century, the Lightning design of Salesforce. So I think it's for any user, it's a lot clearer, a lot brighter, and a lot nicer to use. And then you can create your media campaigns directly from here for the items that you have selected directly through the booking calendar, of course.
Great, and I think that was a good example of kind of what we talked about earlier about how you could search for those items. Excuse me, I have a cough. Search through those items through the media configuration rather than the booking calendar, because you had that good example there. So thank you.
Exactly, it kind of shows both sides of it, whichever one is preferable, whatever type of campaign you're trying to create or achieve. Maybe exactly, just depends which one works in your particular use case. Yeah, so that's the booking calendar. And then I suppose keeping on the topic and the, what would you say, the wave that is Lightning design, we can show you our new Invoicing Wizard in Lightning. So for the Invoicing Wizard, it now being available in Lightning is a lot more than just a facelift for our beloved Invoice Wizard. It should also provide much appreciated improvements to invoicing users or the experience of our users. So this new sleek design, as you can see here, is like the booking calendar, easy on the eyes. It's a lot clearer, a lot brighter, a lot easier to see what you're working with. As previously, the filter sections which you see here are completely configurable to tailor the invoicing wizard to your users' needs. So any users who've already configured their filters custom for the classic wizard, if they're of course using the classic wizard, there are no additional steps needed to transition, so to say, to the invoice wizard in Lightning. Those feature settings also apply for this this section of the invoicing wizard. The new design also comes with the use of the data table from Salesforce. And what that is useful for is, let me just show you. My sample legal entity is that when we filter, you have already, for example, it says here 50 plus items. So there are more than 50 items corresponding to my search. And what that means is that as I'm loading here, the Salesforce data table will start loading more items. So the dynamic loading, as you can see now, we're up to 16.7. You can also resize maybe the columns if you can't see, you want to see the entire name, or you can also sort by invoice date. This is particularly handy for our users who maybe have very big invoicing or billing runs at the end of the month. So of course you would have usually invoice monthly, for example, and you would just filter by your particular invoice dates, press filter, and then you see only the invoices for that particular date. The most important enhancement for this, and why it is really good for the Invoicing Wizard to have been brought into Lightning, is that it means it's now available within a flow. So users can use the latest Salesforce technology in the form of Lightning flows, or just flows, as they can be called as well, to create their own custom flows for invoicing. This could of course be a screen flow, which you could place maybe on account, or an automated flow. So that was kind of why it was necessary to bring why it was necessary and beneficial to bring the Invoicing Wizard into Lightning Design.
Okay, so you're saying that now we can do flows. Could you kind of elaborate a little bit more on that? What would be an example of a invoicing flow customers could make?
Yeah. So one good example, I think, for maybe a screen flow, for example. So what a screen flow is, it would guide the user through a series of steps and questions to achieve their end goal. And of course, your end goal here for the Invoicing Wizard is to invoice your invoices. So what our users could do is they could create a screen flow and they could place it on, for example, the account records. And that way then the user could be led through a series of steps or questions. For example, picking the planned invoice date, which you just saw me do in the demo. They could also maybe assign the accounting periods, and through this, they could then initiate a billing run directly from the account record. You could also maybe create an automated flow, which the users simply need to click a button, maybe at the end of the month, to initiate a billing run, which could again be based on kind of preset criteria. So that particular account for the last month, and assign all to X accounting period. So this would really limit, for example, the amount of switching between tabs that users would have to do, and would allow kind of finance users, or maybe even account managers, depending on who does this in which company, to focus solely on the accounts that they are responsible for. So they could invoice just their accounts instead of having to maybe search through lists of, for example, here, lists of debtors. You could see all debtors in this org through this. Yeah, so I think that's a good one that you could do directly on the accounts, for example. But of course, the sky's the limit when it comes to flows, not just for the Invoicing Wizard, of course, for many other things, but I think that's a good example or a good start for the Lightning flows for invoicing.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Yeah, so our next things are not actually in the demo, so to say. They are the programmatic advertising and self-service advertising. So these ones are, they're not going to be an in-depth demo because these are rather sizable and deserving of their own webinars, which is, as I mentioned, exactly what we've done. Since the beginning of this year, I believe we started maybe in January or February. With the first one, we've done a series of 3 webinars for each of these, the final installments of which are coming in the next weeks, where we show you the full features, and you can also ask any questions you may have on those features in the live webinar. But what I wanted to do now is maybe give you like a little taster of what these webinars might entail, which might maybe entice you to attend the webinar, or you could also maybe inform a colleague or a friend or family, whoever might be interested in attending these webinars. So just going to give you like a little sample. So let's maybe start with the programmatic advertising. So for everybody in the industry, of course, you're aware that programmatic is a very big topic and only getting bigger and more important by the day. I think also that's been what's shown in the data for the last few months, that programmatic importance has kind of risen dramatically in this day and age that we're currently living in this current times. So for those using ADvendio for the direct sales, this could mean, if you're using programmatic, that you might end up managing campaigns and revenue streams across 2 or more platforms. This, of course, is difficult, it's tedious, and can result in different reporting and can make it very difficult to get an overview of your revenue streams. So therefore, we've made it possible for customers to not only import their programmatic data into Advendio, but to also map it to their inventory and advertisers within Advendio, which will then allow them to compare and visualize their revenue streams in a meaningful way. So what you can see here is an example of our Programmatic Advertiser Wizard, and this allows you to map your programmatic advertisers to the accounts within Advendio. Once this revenue is imported and mapped, you can then create media campaigns from it, for example. You can also then visualize the data. Mapping the data is important because it allows you to compare the programmatic sales with the direct sales for that same account. So that kind of, comparing like with like. And then once you have it in, like I said, you can visualize it in ways like this. And what that helps you do is to gain useful insights on trends, and also to kind of see what's best performing per advertiser, per site, whichever. And you can see this, what we call this dashboard, and much more in the programmatic webinar, which is coming up. And you can ask any questions directly. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. There's, as you can see here, we've got other tabs to show, and also showing other wizards and other functionalities for programmatic within that webinar.
Cool, and I'll be presenting that one, so if you're not sick of me yet, hope to see you there.
Can see you there. This is a very interesting topic, and yeah, that one I believe we have the dates coming up in a slide or two, so you can see when it is on. The next one is our self-service webinar, and our self-service within Advendio at the moment focuses on enabling customers to create their own self-service portal, which will be based on Salesforce communities. So what you're seeing here on the screen is a sample of a portal which we show you during the self-service webinar. In this portal, in this kind of welcome screen or dashboard, so to say, users can create a campaign. They can get an overview of kind of existing or running campaigns or previous campaigns. They can see their invoices, as well as any maybe relevant reporting for those campaigns. What we also do is we go through a sample flow, which you can see here. Sorry, my throat's also getting a bit dry. So to show how our users could use this portal to create a flow to enable their users to not only create campaigns, which of course, as you see here going through, but to also maybe pay directly in the portal. So we have 2 more installments of those webinars coming up, and here are the dates. So the next one is already next Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday. So the self-service one coming up, is that also by you, Sam?
No, it's other Sam.
Other Sam. We've got 2 great Sams here who are great for the webinar, so it's the other Sam. And then we have the Programmatic Advertising webinar on June 17th. And those are kind of the end of, like I said, a series of 3 webinars for each of those topics. They're great because you can log in, you can ask questions for those ones directly. You can get all information for our webinars. So for those webinars, if you want to sign up, if you're an existing customer, you may have already gotten an email. If not, you can also go directly to advendio.com/webinars, where you can sign up for these webinars and any other webinars we may be having. And you can also see recordings of previous webinars on the site. So if there are maybe previous releases where you're interested in the features, or previous focused webinars, maybe there are other series of webinars as well to come up, all of that information you'll be able to see directly on our webinars landing page on our Advendio page. Yeah, so those are kind of the main topics that I had to show. So what we usually do here is we then flick over. Sam will look through, because she's kind of gathered all the questions as we've gone along, and will ask any questions, and I'll answer to the best of my ability the questions that we have.
Yes, so we've gotten a couple questions. Please keep them coming. I might wait like 1 second, but I'll start from the top, and hopefully more questions can fill in. So we got a question relating to the media search. When will be, there's actually a couple questions. Okay, so when will I be able to check the availability of my digital inventory in the media search? I'm assuming that would be things that are linked up to an ad server.
Yeah, so exactly at the moment that is only for non-digital things. However, we plan to release this in one of our next releases so that you can check all of your inventory before adding it to your campaign. So keep an eye on the next release, not next release, next releases, excuse me. But it's coming up. It is on our plan.
Okay, great.
So keep an eye on our release notes and you can see.
Okay, and then another one, does the exclusivity check also work for products with publication dates?
That's actually a good question. It's not something that I mentioned in the demo. No. So at the moment, publication dates are not taken into account for the exclusivity check in the media search. If this is something that the person is interested in, maybe they could contact their technical account manager, or they can submit a feature request through support at ADvendio, so that we can kind of evaluate this and evaluate how much effort it would be including this into our products, and maybe get some more information and use cases from the customer where relevant. But
Okay.
yeah, so at the moment not, but drop us a feature request and we can see where this lies.
Okay. Another one, do I need to upgrade to Spring 20 in order to use the media search? So I'm assuming that this would be a customer that's still using the older, essentially, media search look
Okay.
and feel.
No, that's a good question. So, because I did mention that I had left beta in 20, but the media search itself has been available since 2115, so 115. So in order to use the media search, you don't need to update to Spring 20 kind of to the latest release, which I know can be a problem for some users where they have quite long regression testing required. All your admin would need to do if you have version 2.115 onwards is activate the new media search in the administration settings of your org. And what that will do then is make the media search that you saw on the demo available for all users across the organization when they use any button which is directed towards your media search. So as you saw, I think, I'm not sure if it was clear to the users, but I pressed the media search button on the top. But for users who maybe, for example, normally press the add items from the campaign item list, that would then also direct you to this new media search. So if there's no need to update to the latest version, they can just do that in the admin settings from 2.115 on.
Great. Okay, and now we're going to move to a booking calendar question. So the new media campaign page, which you clicked from the booking calendar, is quite full. Any thoughts of allowing to configure the page layout for this new media campaign?
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea, which could be, I think, interesting for our users of the booking calendar. We can take this into consideration for maybe future developments. Maybe also, again, it would be good to maybe drop an email or a case through our support at ADvendio to share the idea. That way, then you can also get any updates on the status once we do start implementing this request. So whoever did that would be, or whoever had that question, that would be a good suggestion. That way you know you're being kept in the loop on your idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alrighty. Invoicing. So is there an invoicing flow available within ADvendio?
No, at the moment there aren't any invoicing flows available within our ADvendio package. Where you would maybe use a flow and the type of flow that you would need is really kind of a very particular thing to everyone's individual business needs. So what we've done is we've made the invoicing available through a flow, which means that you can create flows where and when you need them, or not at all if you don't need them. But of course, it's just to give users this option and this flexibility. So
Okay.
yeah.
So it's kind of a case-by-case basis.
Exactly, and it's something that's based on Salesforce normal technology. So the Salesforce admins within each organization can set them up and configure them themselves. Yeah, so those are all the questions that we have for now. If anything, of course, comes to people's minds later on, sometimes that happens when you're doing something else, you think of questions that maybe you could have asked or should have asked. Of course, feel free to drop any case to support at ADvendio or talk to your technical account managers, or I believe we also have here, hang on, our contact information if you have any questions for either of us. So there's Samantha and I. We can also answer any questions you may have on the topics that we presented or any kind of related questions or queries that you may have. Yeah, thank you very much, Samantha.
Alrighty. Well, thanks so much everyone for tuning in today. It was nice to share a little bit of our day with you. Hope to talk again soon.
Yep, perfect.
Bye.
Bye.